Hello everyone, onlydraven here again. Thank you so much for tuning in this week. This week we are going to talk about my weekly check-in as we normally do. We're also going to talk about the different foods and such that I've been eating over the past few months in phase 3 of my weight loss diet. Starting next week, if all goes well, I should be on phase 4. A week from today, next Wednesday, I have my 4-month checkup with my nutritionist, 4-month post-op. And so on that day, per the schedule, I should be moving to phase 4, which is the final phase of the post-surgery diet, which is the phase I'm on the rest of my life. The amount I eat increases, some of the limitations come off, but some of my requirements, such as proteins and things of that nature, may increase as well. So there will be quite a few changes as of next week. So it's a pretty big thing. I'm pretty excited about it. It'll be the first time I've seen my nutritionist since 1 month after the surgery. So I'll have my first official weigh-in with them. And just kind of talk about where I'm at, how I've progressed, and where we are moving forward. So we're going to get into all of that. But before we do, I'd like to thank everyone who's been visiting my new website. Again, shameless plug right here, www.onlydraven.com. There's been quite a bit of traffic there recently. I know I haven't changed much since the first week. I'm kind of giving it a little bit of time. People go in there, see what it is, and I'm going to start adding different things. I'm going to start adding some, just funny pictures I find on the internet. Anything I post there is not created by me when it comes to the funny pictures. That'll be stuff on the internet, and wherever possible, I'll definitely give credit to the artist. But I'm definitely going to post all the pictures I have here, and all the videos and such that I make, or there'll be direct links to those. Also next week, week after is when I do my next progress photo, so I'll definitely be adding those on there. Just me and my nasty shirtlessness, showing you where I'm at compared to previous months, all the way back to the beginning. So definitely check out my website to see my progress photos and kind of see how I physically changed since everything started. So on top of that, again, thank you to all my patrons, everyone who's been on part of my Patreon site. Again, I can't thank you enough for helping me make that website and helping me fund that. Patreon's been an amazing tool to let me really kind of diversify and add to my ability to give you guys stuff. So thank you so much for helping participate for that. If you've never been there before, definitely check out my Patreon page. Again, link right here. Patron symbol up there. Also, the description is in the video description beneath, so definitely check that out, see if it's something you might be interested in. I'm also looking for new ideas to give as perks or rewards for patrons, so definitely shoot me a message on my website or a message on my Facebook if you have a recommendation, something you'd like to see as a gift, or something you'd like to see as a perk for joining up for that. Other than that, without further ado, we are going to go ahead and step right into our weekly checkup. So here we go. All right, on this weekly checkup, I'm happy to report a better than average week. I had a really good week. I know I usually always say I have a good week. It's kind of consistent, but I had a really good week this week. I actually lost 5 pounds this week. I dropped 5 pounds, where I've been really just kind of 2 and 3 at the most for the most weeks. So I've been really picking it up there, even though I haven't been able to get to the gym as much as I really should. But I've been incredibly strict on my diet, staying to exactly what I'm supposed to be eating, no snacks, no extra eating. So it's definitely been paying off. So being down 5 more pounds this week puts me down 144 pounds total. I am currently at 287, which is a big number, but considering I started at 431 on December 19th of 2016, so we're what, 7 months here, 6-7 months, something like that. My math's not strong. That's pretty fucking awesome. I've lost a lot of weight in a very short period of time, and it's only been positive at this point. I find that I'm achier than I used to be. Sitting down for long periods of time, my lower back and my ass gets hurt. Now, ass, I understand. I've lost some cushioning there. It's not as much squishy booty to sit on. But when it comes to my lower back and such, I don't know if it's because now I'm just not having to carry around as much, so things are moving to different positions. But it's definitely something I'm going to speak with my doctor about next week. But 5 pounds is a great week. I am 6 pounds away from being down 150 pounds. It was just a month or two ago that I said, had a little giveaway because I was down 100 pounds. So maybe I'm looking to do something for 150 pounds. Would you like to win something? Maybe I'll win you something, or give you something, you win it. What would you like to win? Shoot me a message. I'd love to hear. But I'm thinking about doing another little contest for the 150 pounds. It would be great to hit that by next Wednesday when I go see my nutritionist, but I have a feeling that 6 pounds in 1 week is a little more than I lose at this point, and I'm not sure it would be quite healthy for me to do that. I don't want to cut back on what I eat. I mean, I could probably half starve myself and hit it, but I've stuck by the rules this entire process. I'm not going to mess with that now. So, on top of that, so speaking about my appointment next week, as I mentioned, is my 4-month post-op visit with my nutritionist at my doctor's office, my surgeon's office. I'm very excited about that because it's going to allow me to move into phase 4, the final phase of my diet. And with that's going to come a lot of other changes, things I'm going to have to adjust to, as well as possibly some more vitamin changes. They should be doing some blood work, so in the next week or two I'll get some reports on that. Sorry for keep rubbing my nose, I got itchy here today. But it's going to definitely be a big change. So this week I decided I was going to talk about how phase 3 went and kind of what all was involved with that. Phase 3, I guess we'll start with the beginning. Phase 1 was liquids. Phase 2 was soft pureed foods. So in phase 2, I was mostly eating cottage cheese, Greek yogurt, pinto beans, no-fat pinto beans, with a little bit of low-fat cheese on them. That was the majority of my meals. I tried pureeing some things, like chicken, and I just didn't take well to it. I just didn't enjoy the flavor, was really my big thing. I tried adding chicken stock and different stuff, but I just didn't enjoy that. So I mostly ate the same 3 or 4 things all the time. But that phase didn't last super long. It was only several weeks. And that's when I entered into phase 3. And that was at the last appointment I had about 3 months ago. So phase 3 gave me a lot more options. I could add fruits, I could add vegetables. 50% of my meals had to be protein. But my quantity increased to 2 to 3 ounces, which sometimes I have a habit of eating a little bit more than that. Sometimes I actually eat less. It just really depends on what I'm eating. I find the heavier the food is, the less of it I can take. I've learned to space it out, take a bite, wait a minute, take a bite, wait a minute, whereas I used to just wolf my food down. You can give me a plate of food, I'd be done before you barely got started. So learning to pace myself has helped, while at the same time following the rule of not allowing a meal to last more than 20 minutes. At 20 minutes, you stop. That was part of the rules, so I've always stuck by that. But I had a little bit more diversity, but not as much as most other people. Like I said, I'm kind of active in the bariatric community. I'm on several of the Facebook groups, Reddit groups, a couple different websites, and a lot of folks were a lot more diverse than I was. But for me, it was more of a, hey, this is working, I don't want to mess with a good thing. So I ended up eating a lot of the same stuff over and over. But I've been asked a lot, hey, what do you eat on your diet? So that's what we're going to kind of cover this week. So starting with first meal of the day is going to be breakfast. So for breakfast, 9 days out of 10, I'm just eating some low-fat cottage cheese. I have 2 to 3 ounces of low-fat cottage cheese, sprinkle a little bit of salt on it, and that's usually it. A couple times I had 1 or 2 small squares of pineapple in there. I'd eat with it, not mixed in, because I don't do that. But and that was nice just because that was really the only fruit I've had in the last 3 months. I really have not eaten many fruits. The struggle for me was the 3 ounces. 3 ounces fills me up. I'm very lucky if I can eat that all the time. And that is not a lot of food. It's a very small amount of food. You think about it, you get yourself a 16 or 20 ounce bottle of drink. 60 or 20 ounce bottle of drink. I can have 2 to 3 of those ounces and I'm full. I'm not allowed to drink during my meal or for like 20 to 30 minutes after. So I have to leave room for all the food. So it fills me up quickly. That being said, with most of my meal having to be protein, in order for me to hit my protein goals per day, there's not a lot of room for side dishes in there. So I can't add a lot of fruits and veggies on the side that aren't high protein because I'm really focused on the meats usually. But breakfast was one of my lighter meals, so I had, like I said, cottage cheese, and I had that. The other thing I would eat for breakfast was breakfast ham. I'm going to go get the breakfast ham. I'll show you what it looks like. And we're back. So these are breakfast hams. I get these at Kroger. It's my grocery store choice. I go to other places once in a while, but mostly I shop at Kroger. The brand is Jones's, and it's 97% fat-free. There are 10 pieces in a package. Okay, you just throw them in a frying pan or skillet for a couple minutes, or I think it's like a minute and a half until you heat them up. You can also microwave them, but I found they're better if you do them in the frying pan. You can have 2 slices as a serving. I can eat 2 slices. It fills me up, but it's not above what I can eat. And it's got only 1.5 grams of fat, which is awesome. It's got 8 grams of protein and only 1 gram of carbs. So for myself, where I'm really limited on the amount of carbs and proteins I can have, 8 grams of protein with very little of anything else, very good. So if you're looking for something, these are really tasty. You can put a little bit of cheese or something on there, just make sure you calculate that in. But this is something that I have for breakfast quite often when I'm not doing cottage cheese. So recommend those. But that's pretty much all I eat for breakfast. It's just the same couple of things over and over again. I did have scrambled eggs once or twice, but I find I prefer eggs for dinner. And I almost always prefer them in an omelet, but that's kind of how, that's just a personal preference. But you could have scrambled eggs and some low-fat cheese as well. But those 2 things are my breakfast. So then we move on to lunch. Lunch, especially since 5 days out of 7 I'm at work, is almost always the same thing, and that's tuna, or tuna salad. I take a can of tuna, mix it with some light or low-fat mayonnaise, and then mix that shit up, and then I usually eat about half a can. 1 whole can is more than I can eat, really, especially once you add some mayonnaise in there as well. The tuna itself is something I don't ever get tired of it, fortunately. It keeps real well, small little container, take it in my lunch bag for work. But best of all, it's probably of everything I eat, it's the one thing that does not make me nauseous or feel bad at all. Everything else I eat, I usually feel a little funky afterwards, right? I get to the point where I'm like, oh, I've eaten too much. But the tuna, I feel full, but I don't ever feel sick. It doesn't make me nauseous or anything like that. So the tuna was by far probably my favorite thing of the whole process for just regular foods. Sometimes I will take chicken tenders. I get the shake and bake, and I get some chicken tenders, which are boneless, skinless, whammy chicken. And I'll shake and bake up a whole pan of those things. And I usually make them for my family for dinner as well. And then I've got enough to eat on for days. And I'll grab those. Okay, back again. So, should have got all this stuff ready ahead of time. So again, Kroger has a brand called Simple Truth. And I buy these. It's usually about $10 a box. There are a lot. It's 32 ounces. Again, for someone who can eat 2 to 3 ounces of food, that's a lot of meals. So it's they're really tasty. It's good quality chicken. To give you a bit of an idea of their nutritional value, it is, again, serving size is 4 ounces. So I'm not even eating a whole serving size. But fat is 0.5 gram, carbs is 0, and proteins 26 grams. This is an incredibly high source of protein with little to no fats or carbs in there. So this is a great thing to add. You'll get a little tiny smidgen of fats, carbs, and smidgens from the shake and bake, but not enough to make it anywhere near bad. So I can get probably 2 meals a day for 4 or 5 days out of this box. Again, that's a very simple, easy thing to put together. You'll get a lot of meals out of that. Very high in protein, very low in fats and carbs. So I can't recommend that enough. I can usually eat 2 chicken tenders if I'm lucky. I will usually sometimes dip them in a little bit of light sour cream. Light sour cream was a godsend for me at this point. Mustard is what I ate on everything. And if you've watched my videos before, you'll see that mustard is the one thing I've found that since the surgery, I just cannot eat. Anytime I've tried to eat mustard, I've tried regular mustard, Dijon mustard, spicy mustard, honey mustard, any type of mustard that I eat makes me ill. I get nauseous, I just can't, my stomach will reject it. It won't eat mustard at this point, which sucks because I love mustard. But I had to find something else as a condiment to put in there. And like I said, I use light mayonnaise. I use light mayonnaise even before the surgery, but light mayonnaise is what goes into my tuna and such. If I was to eat a burger or something, I'd put a little light mayonnaise on that. But I needed something else. So I found low-fat or no-fat sour cream. Brought just enough flavor. It was nice and cool. It's if you will, food lubricant, I like to call it. Food lube. Food lube. I like that. Food lube. So, I mean, a chicken tender or something, it makes it easier to swallow, especially in the early part of going to phase 3, when I was still just a month or so out of the surgery. I found it helped because, again, it was softer, more liquefied. So my stomach had a bit of a better time with it. But low-fat sour cream. A little bit of fat in there, but you're not really going to see any carbs. a little bit of protein, but it's a good condiment to use to sub out some other things. Again, sorry for the itchy. You know, I've talked about the itchy a couple times. Just a quick tangent here. I have psoriasis and eczema because I have an overactive immune system. So I get injections every 10 to 12 weeks of a medication, I guess you could say, a steroid, if you will, that kind of lowers my immune system. It's still way stronger than the average person's. So it's a rare day that I ever have a cold. I've never had chicken pox, measles, mumps, but I've never really had any issues with that. But my body runs out of things to fight, so it attacks me, and I get flaky skin, and it looks like bad dandruff, and I used to have big patches all over. But I've been on some medication and working with a dermatologist for years, and it's phenomenal. I would say 95% clear at this point. The medication I use is called Stelara. If you have questions about psoriasis or you'd like to see a video on that, let me know. I'd be happy to do one of those too. My dermatologist is the bomb. I've been seeing him for over 10 years now. Their office is phenomenal, so I'd be happy to talk about that if anybody has that issue. But that's why you'll see me a lot of times, because I do still have some of the itch from that. But back to what I was talking about. So for lunches, again, as a recap, it's tuna most of the time, and or chicken tenders. That's my most common lunches. Now for dinner, a little bit more variety. That's my at-home meal. And if you've watched my videos in the past, you know I've done some cooking videos. I've tried different things. So those are usually one-offs. I'll try them for a week, do something different, but I haven't made the same thing really twice at this point. So I'm not really going to count those in this. This video, I'm really talking about the stuff I eat all the time or regularly. So the chicken tenders, again, being one of them. You know, lunch and dinner. When I got a bunch of them, I don't want them to go bad since I can't eat many in a shot. So I'll usually eat them for a couple meals, lunch and dinner, for several days straight. So the chicken tenders, again, lunch and dinner, that's a lot of protein. That's 40-50 grams of protein right there, which helps me meet my goal of currently over 90 grams of protein. So the chicken tenders with shake and bake are good stuff. Another thing that I will do, and I've talked about these before, is Green Giant mashed cauliflower. I actually grabbed these while I was getting the chicken tenders this time. These are very tasty. I like the bacon cheddar ones, or cheddar bacon. Nutrition in this, it has 6 grams of fat, so it's a little higher in the fat. And it says half a cup is a serving size. Again, I don't eat quite that much. Carbs has 6, proteins has 3. So this is a little bit lower on the protein. I will sometimes use this as a side with, say, the chicken tenders, or oops, dropped it, or with some of the other stuff that I eat. I'll, a spoonful of that with my meat, if you will. But sometimes I'll just eat that. Add a little low-fat cheese on there, gets me some extra protein, a little bit of fat though. So that one I have to be real careful with the fat, because there's fat in that, fat in my sour cream. There's going to be fat in the cheese I add to it. So that is a day where I have to make sure I don't eat much fat at all the first part of the day. But they're very tasty. Again, I can get multiple meals out of one of those things. It takes about 10-15 minutes to microwave it up from being purely frozen. So it's really tasty, and I recommend that. Another thing I've been eating a lot of is canned chicken. Talked about this before. Like tuna, comes in a can, except it's chicken. It's already pre-cooked. Mix it up with a little bit of light mayonnaise as well. Eat it just like the tuna. It's delicious. I can usually eat half a can of that as well. The can's a little bit bigger, but they're bigger chunks, so there's more space in the can, if you will. But again, it rarely bothers my stomach. It's just next to the tuna, it's the second best thing I have for not making me nauseous at all. So the canned chicken, I don't have any cans of that left, so I cannot show it to you right now. So I apologize. But I recommend it. I've talked about it before. It's very inexpensive. Get a couple meals out of it. Throw some mayonnaise in. Very tasty. It's a very cool, refreshing meal. You can probably heat it up too, although I usually eat it just out of the can with some mayonnaise mixed in. Another thing that I'll do, and this is usually more of a side as well, and that's going to be the Green Giant broccoli cheddar tots. They're like tater tots, except they're made out of just broccoli and cheddar. Again, if you've had bariatric surgery, you know that we have to be careful with our carbs. And starchy vegetables, potatoes, corn, and peas are the worst. So I've not had any potatoes in over 4 months, which hurts when my family gets French fries, because usually when I'm making my tots, I'm making them French fries. But the tots are pretty tasty. The only complaint I'd have about the tots is I can't quite get them to be crunchy enough. I have cooked them 2 times as long, almost 3 times as long as they recommend, and they'll get a little crispy around the outer side, but they stay very soft inside. So they don't have quite the tater tot texture, but they taste really good. So either way, even if they're a bit softer, they got a really good flavor. Again, a little bit of cheese, a little bit of light sour cream on that does wonders. So that's another popular one. And those things right there are the primary things that I eat throughout a regular week on phase 3, which is what I'm in now. For eating out, if I go out to eat, which my family eats out a lot. I used to eat out every day, almost, at least once before I got on this path to getting skinny. So it's a hard thing to break. So my family eats out, or we're on the run, we just want to grab something on the way home. It's good to have options, and there are more options than what I have taken advantage of. But again, I've been very strict and picky with what I've been doing. So as I mentioned it before, Taco Bell grilled chicken soft tacos. It has chicken, it's got lettuce, and it's got a little bit of cheese in it. Okay? If you go online, you can look at Taco Bell's nutritional page. You will find that they are one of the healthiest things that you're going to find at any fast food restaurant. I worked at a Taco Bell for many years. The taco salad is the unhealthiest. It's a big deep fried shell. People on diets get the taco salad because people hear the word salad and they think that means healthy. The taco salad is not healthy. It's pretty much, at least when I worked there, the unhealthiest thing on the menu. But a grilled chicken soft taco, I say grilled because if you ask them, they will take their shredded chicken and replace it with grilled chicken. Now again, not allowed to have carbs and breads. We can't eat the tortillas. I found if you ask them, you order like 1 or 2 grilled chicken soft tacos, ask them to put it in a bowl. Now, I've had multiple reactions to that. They've always done it. Sometimes they put it in a Nacho Bel Grande dish, and I get way more than I'm really paying for. Sometimes I get a Nacho Supreme dish, which is about what I'm supposed to pay for. And sometimes they will put each taco in an individual pintos and cheese dish. So I'll have 2 or 3 little tiny cups of a taco's worth of stuff. Again, I'm getting what I'm paying for. And those are convenient because then it's like literally individual meal sizes. So there's different Taco Bells that do it differently, so I've kind of figured out in my area which ones have done which. I've probably done that 4 or 5 times over the last 3 months, and that's my meal of choice if I'm going to grab something out. Again, I'll come home, put a little bit of light sour cream on it, because again, you can't really eat that in the car. But they're very tasty. I find it very filling, and it's not bad at all. Said it's mostly lettuce, the grilled chicken. Those 2 are good. Protein, the cheese, because it's not healthier cheese, not the low-fat cheese. It's going to have a little bit of fat in it. But again, if you're watching your other meals and you calculate in, it's not bad at all. The only other thing I have eaten out in the entire time of being on the diet is we did go to Chick-fil-A one time. My wife, on a whim, decided to eat Chick-fil-A. If you're not familiar with that restaurant, if you're outside of the area where they're, it's more of a, I live in the south of the United States, that's where they're pretty popular. But it is a chicken-based fast food place, chicken burgers, chicken sandwiches. They have a couple other things, but it's mostly chicken sandwiches and chicken burgers. And their only French fries are waffle fries. Now, I personally am against the demonic evil waffle fries. They are not really a fry. It's like half a potato with ridges. If I wanted that, I would just get a baked potato. So I'm against waffle fries. Can't eat them right now anyways. I'm just throwing that out there. So I don't normally eat Chick-fil-A because of that. But my wife decided she wanted it. So I got a grilled chicken burger. I came home. It just was a grilled chicken patty. Had lettuce on it. Had tomato on it. I put a little bit of light mayonnaise, and I threw away the bun. Because again, can't eat breads. That was very tasty. It had cheese on it too. I take it back. It also had a piece of cheese. So chicken, cheese, lettuce, tomato, a little bit of light mayonnaise. Not bad at all. The only real fat you're getting there is from your light mayonnaise. And if you eat the low fat or non-fat mayonnaise, you're not going to see much of that at all. Lettuce and tomatoes are fine. Again, you can have that. My meal's still more than 50% of a protein, chicken being very high. Chicken and tuna very high in protein. So that was something else I ate out. I've been told that some people go to like a McDonald's and get a burger and throw away the bun. I've seen people who've gone to Arby's and throw away the bun. On phase 3, I was told the only red meat I could have was ground beef, and then all of the red meat I could not have yet. So I've only had ground beef 1 time in 3 months, and that's when I made a hamburger patty for July 4th. And I did not have a bun, but it was very tasty. But again, my family doesn't eat a lot of hamburger, so it's not something we buy very often. So I have not had a lot of red meat. Now, once I hit phase 4, there are no limitations when it comes to that. So I will tell you right now, sometime in the next couple of weeks after I get on phase 4, I'm going to a steakhouse. I will probably only be able to eat a little tiny bit of that steak, and I can't have potatoes with it, so I'll maybe just have a light salad or something. But I'll get multiple meals out of that delicious steak, but I'm very excited at the prospect of having some steak. I'll get a lean, low-fat steak, but it's going to be good. So I'm looking forward to that. But those are mostly what I eat. Like I said, I've been averaging a loss of 2 to 5 pounds every week, pretty much every single week since my surgery. There's only been 1 or 2 weeks I didn't lose anything. And so it's worked for me. I've stayed within the guidelines. I've made sure I've hit my protein, carb, and fat goals. I've made sure I've not been overeating, and I have not had one single snack in 4 months. Other than my 3 meals, I have not eaten at all at any time. I drink protein shakes between my meals. I drink a little bit of Gatorade G2 to help get my carbs in, because I have struggled a bit with getting those. But other than that, I don't eat at all. So sticking with the diet and following the guidelines works. It's worked for me. These are the things I've eaten, so I recommend them. That being said, I think that's really all we need to talk about this week. I've gone on and on about that. So that's my meals. Next week should be a big video. Hopefully I'll be talking about phase 4, talking about the information I've got from my nutritionist, and then of course talking about, the future, what things look like from that point, because I'll pretty much be stepping into the rest of my life as of next Wednesday. So a little nervous, but excited about it. And I'll check in with you guys next Wednesday, let you know how all of that went. Probably won't have the blood work back by that point, so I won't be able to talk about that, but I'll definitely clue you guys in once I get the response on that. But thank you again so very much for watching. Please check out my website, www.onlydraven.com. Check out my Patreon page, and also check out my social medias, okay? Facebook, I have Instagram, Twitter. Those are the 3 I'm probably on the most. I got Tumblr and stuff as well. All the links to all of my social medias and my website and my Patreon are in the description of this video. If you haven't done so already, please click like on the video. Helps me out a lot, lets me know you're enjoying what I'm doing. And most importantly, please subscribe. More subscribers helps me, helps you see my videos as they come out, and it definitely helps me unlock more features that I can then use to put out more content for you. So I definitely appreciate all of your support here and on all of my websites. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will talk to you again next week.